I am a poor, wayfaring stranger, while traveling through this world of woe. Yet there's no sickness, toil, nor danger in that bright world to which I go. I'm going there to see my Father. I'm going there no more to roam. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home. I know dark clouds will gather round me. I know my way is rough and steep, but golden fields lie out before me, where God's redeemed shall ever sleep. I'm going there to see my mother. She said she'd meet me when I come. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home. I'll soon be free from every trial. My body sleep in the churchyard. I'll drop the cross of self-denial and enter on my great reward. I'm going there to see my Savior, to sing His praise forevermore. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home. I'm going there to see my Savior, to sing His praise forevermore. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home. I'm only going over home. I'm only going over home.
Good morning. Though our chalice flame won't light, I have some opening words for us this morning. These words come from Reverend Gretchen Haley. Know you are not alone, and discover the way our voices rise. For this one moment, know that you are loved, that you are safe and whole. Know that you belong here, here among us, here upon this earth, in your body. However tired or broken your heart may be, whatever fear, disappointment, anger you carry. For this hour, know you are not alone. Feel the presence of others surrounding you, breathing beside you, or on Zoom, and with you. Discovering together the way our voices rise and fall together in harmony, in hope. Claim here a resilient freedom, the choice for love, for light, to live with joy and gratitude and praise as a form of resistance. I feel particularly grateful this morning for the way those voices were just rising in harmony. Thank you so much to our singers this morning. I'm Reverend Annie Gonzalez, your Minister of Faith Development, and I'm so glad to welcome you to First Parish in Bedford. Whether you are here braving this very chilly, very beautiful fall morning with us, or whether you are here on Zoom, we're so glad you've come to join us for our all ages worship. And we're excited to have a brief and lovely worship for you this morning with some stories and reflections and some singing from some of our kids. I have just a couple announcements to share. One announcement is that there will be a caring cards table after worship this morning. So warm those hands up, get a pen out, and sign some cards for folks in our community who could use some care and love sent their way. You can see Maria Green, who will be at that table when worship concludes. The other thing I want to highlight is that we do have our semi-annual meeting coming up on November 14th. I believe that is 2-3 weeks away. And I'm wanting to make sure that is on folks' radars. It will be at 4 p.m. Sunday, November 14th. The other note I want to mention in our announcements is that for those who are joining on Zoom, when we get to the sharing of joys and concerns, which will be a little later in our service, you will be invited to share on the chat. So if you want to take a moment, as we're moving through worship, to think about that so you're ready, just know that's coming. For those in person, you'll be invited up if you like. So that will also happen. And I forgot something very important, which is our Unison Affirmation. I was wondering what came next, and it's our Unison Affirmation. Hazards of not having a printed order of worship, But I know the words by heart. I know many of you do too. Please rise in body or in spirit as suits you to join in our words of affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley. Este es nuestro gran pacto. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor, y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. Thank you. Now we have a story to share, so I need one more microphone and I need one more participant. So, this is a story that is about the golden rule, but without spoiling it, it will turn into another rule at the end. So, once upon a time, there was a monkey, Gino, who lived in a great forest at the edge of a lake with many fish. Gino lived in this beautiful forest along with many other animals, including his large monkey family, and he played mostly with his cousins, Dottie and Sylvia. But usually not for long, because Gino didn't always play fair and sometimes was selfish. Dottie and Sylvia would want to play hotel, and Gino would take over and say,
"The guest rooms should have blue curtains, and all the guests should go bowling."
Dottie and Sylvia weren't very interested in bowling, and they preferred lace curtains to blue ones.
"No, I like blue curtains. They are the best. Everyone knows that, and bowling is the best game to play on vacation."
Or when it was time for snack, their grandmother Clara would make cake for them all. Dottie and Sylvia would want to divide it up based on how hungry they were and take turns with plates because there was only one red plate, and both Gino and Dottie liked the red plate.
"I got here first and got the red plate first, so I should get the red plate no matter what."
Gino's selfish ways went on for a while. One day, Sylvia asked Gino if he had ever heard of the Golden Rule. It is a rule that says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
So what you're saying is that I should think about how I want to be treated and then do that?
Sylvia said yes and told him to try it out the next day. The next day, Gino, Dottie, and Sylvia played their hotel game again, and this time Gino thought to himself,
I wouldn't want someone telling me how to be creative and exactly what to do. I want to be asked first.
So that's what Gino did. He asked Dottie what she thought the hotel's pool should be, and they talked about the options together. When it was snack time, they took time to divide Grandma Clara's cake evenly, and Dottie and Gino made a plan to take turns with the red plate, because Gino thought about how he would feel if he never got the red plate, and he realized it wasn't fair. Now that Gino understood the Golden Rule, playing with Dottie and Sylvia was fun for everyone. One day, it started raining. It rained for 4 days and 4 nights. On the 5th day, the water from the lake was getting so high it started to flood the forest. All the monkeys climbed way high up in the trees. As Gino clung to the tree, he looked down and he thought about the Golden Rule. He saw fish in the waters around him.
If I was stuck in the water, I would want to be helped up into a tree.
Gino reached into the water and caught as many fish as he could and placed them high up in the trees to help them. Gino was very proud of himself. He had thought about the help that he would need. And then he was unselfish and kind by putting the fish safely in the tree with him. After a while, the rain stopped, and the lake went back down to its banks. Grandma Clara swung over to the tree Gino was in. He was sad and confused and surrounded by dead fish in the trees. Grandma Clara asked Gino what had happened.
I wanted to help the fish. The Golden Rule tells me to treat others how I would want to be treated. I wouldn't have wanted to be stuck in the water, so I pulled them up into the tree.
Grandma Clara comforted Gino, explaining that fish need to stay in the water or they die, which is the opposite for monkeys. And then Grandma Clara explained that while sometimes the Golden Rule can help us make good decisions, there's another rule that would have been better for him and the fish, because monkeys and fish have different needs. That rule is the Platinum Rule. The Platinum Rule teaches us that instead of treating others the way we want to be treated, we treat others the way they need to be treated. The end. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Janet, and I'm very short right now. And as you can see, we're still singing. This community is able to offer so much to our community because of your generosity. It's a real gift to provide free, high-quality music programs for our kids and youth, and you make that possible, along with the many other programs and support this community offers. Please give generously to this morning's offering to sustain this community of care.
Disappear, never mind all the wandering road. Sun comes Good morning, everyone. For those of you who haven't had a chance to meet me yet, I'm Lisa Maria Andreoli Steinberg, your Director of Faith Development for Children. And I want to say thank you to our wonderful singers this morning, and Janet and Steve. The music is just beautiful at this congregation, and it is so good to be here with all of you. So show of hands, had anybody heard of the Platinum Rule before Gino had mentioned it, learning about it today? So only a few of you. So most of us, though, show of hands, Golden Rule, yeah, everybody? That one a lot of us learned when we were really young. And it's really helpful because it helps you stop, it helps you think and consider the choices that you make and how you are with people in the world. The Platinum Rule, though, helps us notice differences. It helps us notice that we are not the beginning and end of all experience in the world. We all come from different families. We all come from different parts of the country and the world, different cultures. And we all have different ways of being together. And even in the same family, people can have different wants and needs and ways of being. We can often have different ways that we want to relax. So show of hands, when you want to relax, how many of you want to read a book? How many of you want to dance? See, it's a little bit different. Some people, they can unwind by moving their body. Some people, they want to relax by sitting down with a book. Doesn't make one better than the other, but if I am saying, hey honey, it's time to relax. We should go dancing. And my partner is thinking, no, that doesn't. But I'm saying, but I want to do the thing that I know would be good for me, and so I'm going to help you do it too. And they would be a little confused. We always have different ways of relaxing, and we have different ways of doing all types of life. 19 years ago, my father passed away very suddenly, and my mother and my sister and I, we had very different ways that we were grieving. And if we had tried to force the other one to grieve in the way that we each were, it would have probably made it worse and hard. I, for example, wanted to listen to every piece of music that I enjoyed sharing with my father. But for my mother, that was just too painful. And she didn't want to listen to that music at that time. And my sister wanted to go through every photo album, photo by photo, and look to see every experience. And for me, that was too painful, and it was really difficult. And I couldn't grieve that way, and it would have made the pain harder and deeper at that time. So these are all ways that we have to think about not what we want and offer it up and expect and insist. So just like Gino said, well, curtains are blue. Everybody knows you want blue curtains. Blue curtains are the best. But sometimes lace curtains are better. Sometimes listening to music and grief is what heals you. And sometimes looking at photographs is what heals you. We also have different ways of learning. How many of you, when you are in school and are asked to say what you learned, it's easier than having to write down what you learned? Who likes to say what they learn instead of write it down? And who's somebody who wants to make art to show the way that you know something? Who's good at let me write a piece of music or draw a picture to show you how I know something? Because we all learn differently. And this is where we get into questions of equity. Equity isn't just about making sure everybody has the same thing. Equity is about giving everybody the right tools, the right resources so that they can succeed and they can thrive and they can be part of the community as their whole self. And the Platinum Rule can help us get to equity more easily, because instead of thinking, well, I just need a piece of paper to write down to show you what I learned, we need to think about what other people need to share what they know, and how we can have that equity and how we can have that fairness be part of our community and how we solve problems. And when we talk about equity, These days, we have to talk about anti-racism. We have to talk about deconstructing our white supremacy culture, dismantling it, and finding equity in our communities when we do that. And when we decenter our needs, that's the platinum rule. When we take ourselves and put it aside for a moment, and we think about what is the need in this community that I am trying to help them. You might know what worked best for you when you were raising children. You might know what worked best for you when you were in kindergarten and now you're in 3rd grade and you think that you can tell somebody what they need to do in kindergarten. But that kindergartner is a different kindergartner than you were. People who are raising children today are raising children differently than they did 20 years ago. And when we decenter ourselves in anti-racism work, we have to put that mindset on. What do the people I am helping need? What do they need? And how do we get there? We get there by listening. We get there by speaking up if we're being asked what we need. And then we get there by responding to each other in love. There is a movement right now in Unitarian Universalism. It's called the 8th Principle Project. Is anybody familiar with the 8th Principle Project? Just a couple of you. So the 8th Principle is, for some of you who actually might be new to this congregation, new to Unitarian Universalism, we have 7 principles in Unitarian Universalism that we covenant to affirm and promote together. They are values. They are not belief statements. They are spiritual, and they're ethical goals that we work towards together in community. And there is something that many people have thought is missing from our principles for a number of years now, and that is a specific call to work towards anti-racism and work towards the beloved community. So the 8th Principle Project at Unitarian Universalism says, we, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying toward spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. And to do that work, to live into the 8th principle, which many congregations have voted to adopt in the last year or two. To do that work, we have to first ask, what is it that the oppressed need from me? And not make the assumption that I know how to help them. I have to humble myself, and I have to listen. And that is something that we can all do in our community and in our relationships together. So whether you are 4 or 5 or 45 or 95, we can all take a moment in every opportunity we have in caring for each other to think about not what would I want? How would I want to dismantle oppression? How would I want to be cared for? How would I want to live into a different time? We can all take a second to pause, listen, ask, and respond. I thank you all so much for listening to me this morning, and we will have a community sharing opportunity in a moment after our joys and concerns. And I thank you all for being part of this chilly worship service this morning. Thank you all for your presence. Right now, I'd like to do a little community sharing. I'd like you to turn to the person next to you. Perhaps it's somebody you're related to. Perhaps it's somebody you've known for 50 years. Perhaps it's your best friend. But I'd like you to turn and share with them either a time that somebody asked you what you needed to feel welcome, or a time that you took an opportunity to live the platinum rule and you asked somebody, how can I make you feel welcome in a way that will be safe and whole for you? So we'll take some time for community sharing across the ages here.
For those who are on Zoom, you are very welcome to share into the chat. unless you told me.
No, I didn't. Yep. Perfect. Thank you, Annie. I'm still getting adjusted to this hybrid existence. So please, if you're on Zoom, put into the chat that opportunity. Thank you all so much for sharing. I had a hunch that everyone would like an opportunity to connect with each other about a really important concept in our lives, because while we are living in this in between the beginning of the end, the middle of the end of this pandemic, we have so many relationships to navigate: personal, professional, community. And it's important that we remember to ask people what their needs are. Listen, respond. Thank you to everybody on Zoom. We have over 52 connections on Zoom today, and we have about the same number of people here. So we are a wonderful, beautiful hybrid church where we are listening, sharing, and responding. Blessings be to all of you this week. Stay warm, stay dry, and go in peace.